We are this morning in the Hillsboro Village area of Nashville, and we are taking a survey and showing folks this chart, which represents the debt of the United States over the years. And so we are just asking for their impression, asking if they have any thoughts on this. We're asking if this debt matters, if they're worried about the debt that we might incur in the future. So we're just trying to get people's general raw opinions. We just want to know kind of what your impression of it is. These are trillions of dollars, and then here's the decades noted at the bottom. We're $18.7 trillion as of today. What do you guys think about this?
Well, it seems like the national debt is an important part about keeping relationships with other countries open. We give them money, they give us money. So I feel like it's not like straightforward credit card debt with individuals.
Sure.
It's more of a give and take situation.
Sure.
So it's a little worrying, but I don't know. I mean, it helps kind of keep our relationships cemented with other nations.
Do you mean the debt does?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Good information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Out of curiosity, what are you guys doing this for?
We're making a YouTube video, just trying to get raw kind of impressions of the chart, just looking at it, just what your thoughts are on it. Yeah. Well, Messengers for Liberty, so it's a YouTube channel.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
This chart is of our national debt, and these are the trillions of dollars, and these are the decades here in the bottom. We just want to know kind of a raw, what's your impression of this chart? Do you have any reaction to it?
It looks pretty huge.
Looks pretty huge.
It's obvious. Yeah.
Right.
What is this about?
Well, we're making a YouTube video to kind of get people's impression, and so today we're at $18.7 trillion, up from about $5 trillion in 2000, which is only 15 years. So we just wanted to know, like, is this concerning, or do you guys think, do you think debt matters?
Yeah, of course it matters. It's going to affect our future generations.
Right.
I'm still going to vote for Bernie. If it makes any difference, because, I'm from a socialist country, so.
Oh yeah? Where are you from?
Former Soviet Union.
Oh great, okay.
Yeah, I believe in free education and free medical care, and so whatever it takes. Yeah, I mean, we probably shouldn't spend so much money on different wars and military equipment and things like that, and not interfere in other countries. But it does kind of. It's pretty impressive. 15 years. I'm sorry, 15 years, and you said how much?
And from 5 to 18, so and it's just interesting that came very soon after the war on terror kind of started. So that's an interesting point you made. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of sad.
This is trillions of dollars, and we're just.
It looks awful.
It looks awful.
Amen.
It does, and it's getting worse.
That's
yeah.
That's our YouTube. It looks awful.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
What do you think about it?
We think it's awful too.
So what are you going to do about it?
We're
What
gonna
are we gonna do
We're
about
gonna vote libertarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
For sure.
Okay.
Or maybe audit the Fed.
Or maybe audit the Fed.
It's never been audited in its 103-year existence. That would be a good seller, but
That would be quite something.
There's supposed to be a vote on it in January, according to Rand Paul. They're supposed to actually finally vote on it after 5 years of fighting to get it even
crazy.
heard. So
That's
yeah.
really crazy.
This is a chart of our national debt. These are the trillions of dollars in the decades. We just want to know your impression of this chart. What do you think about it?
Wow, that's a deep question. I don't know. For me, I just feel like it's a perpetuation of just not really dealing with the issues that really need to be dealt with. You can't expect one man to fix the problems of the many presidents before him, and it's really not about him anyway. It's just corporations really run the world, I believe.
Sure.
And money and finances, and I don't really know what to do about the debt. It's so deep in it.
Right.
And it's really confusing to me on what to believe on where we're at, because you have the lottery. I mean, we have, you're still continuing to print money.
Sure. Sure.
That's kind of like, okay, if there's so much debt, like.
Well, so do you think, today we're at $18.7 trillion, do you think that is a threat to our national security?
I think that there can be some serious issues, but when it gets down to the thick of national security, we're still one of the strongest and greatest nations. And at the end of the day, I think the sleeping giant of the United States are the people. And I feel like if there was ever any kind of threat, I think when it gets that serious, we band together. If you look all throughout history, when we band together as a people and a nation to get something done, we get it done. So I just think that there are a lot of issues and a lot of problems with this debt.
Well, so what do you think will it take for people to get angry about this, to get ready to do something about it? Like, what do you think it'll take?
I think it's going to have to take a complete fallout.
Yeah.
It's going to have to take not something banging at the door, but actually being on our soil.
Yeah.
It's going to have to take that. We're so separated and divided and digital, and we're all in this la-la land, and it's going to have to take total and complete breakdown for the people of the United States to band together and say, oh gosh, and to fix the problems. And sometimes when the bottom falls out, it's good, because then you have to start over from scratch. So I don't know what that looks like, but it just seems like in the Constitution, it was written for us.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to, it's not the government that's supposed to lead us. It's we, the people, are supposed to get together and not allow, but we're just so complacent, So.
What do you think about auditing the Federal Reserve? What do you think that is necessary?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
If we can get audited, and just, I think totally we have a right to know what's been happening, what's going on, whether we'll do it, whether we'll fight and band together to get that done. I think there's a lot of issues. I did a case study on JFK, and when you can murder your own president and then blame it and then do all that stuff, then my eyes are actually opened up to really what's going on.
Right.
So, every day I come and you see the serious issues, but at the same time, you have a lot of people that are taking advantage of the system as well. But I don't know. I agree with you. It's going to take the bottom falling out, and then everybody waking up like, oh my gosh, we're in trouble.
But then there are people who are enlightened, like you, who find consciousness their own way, which that is encouraging. That there are people who are finding out, the truth via their own kind of journey. Yeah. So, super answers. Thank you very much for talking to us.
No problem. You guys have a blessed day, and I hope
Thanks.
more people talk.
All right, have a good one. 2015, we're at $18.7 trillion. We just want your impression of this chart. Do you think it's concerning? What are your thoughts?
Basically, I think it's giving a picture of what has happened. The only concern I have is, first of all, people are not dollars. That the government did that for whatever reasons, it always blew my mind, because we did have the gold at one time, and then the gold, I don't know what happened. So basically, I think this is representation of the dollar. But my bottom line on that is the dollar deals with how we live, not whether someone else is going to tell us how we live. So while this is important, it doesn't have to be the control factor. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, people, remember, I don't know, maybe you don't remember, you're young, but communities used to work together. Communities used to come together. If you had a store, then you had all this other stuff, but it all worked for the community. That's what we're supposed to be about, based on this country. You understand that our foundation is we the people, not we the government making trillions of dollars, right?
Right.
So if we the people decide, hey, what we're going to do is come together and as communities help one another, then this $1 trillion debt is just, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because people across seas think they now have control over us because they have our debt. But I'm saying, hey, that's on you. You bought it, you got it. But basically, we people we have to live. And if they shut down everything, what do they have? Nothing.
Yeah.
So there's my husband.
Super answers. Thank you very much. What do you guys think is one of the biggest factors that contributes to our debt? Or
What's the biggest factor?
what do you guys think?
Our spending.
Spending?
That would make sense if you spend money that you don't have. Yeah.
Right.
That is kind of the definition of debt.
I mean, we're growing. We've been involved in multiple areas around the world, and we've funneled a lot of money into things that I don't think that most of America has really focused on. I don't think that they realize where we actually are putting our money, and so it's obvious. I mean, they just passed a spending bill, so
They did. A huge one.
I think it's interesting to see if we like line items how much we're spending in certain places. We might find some areas that we could
Cut a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you think this is concerning, like where we are now, or like where they project we're going to go, or what do you think we should do about it?
Oh gosh.
When was the last time we had a balanced budget? The better.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Probably down somewhere
Yeah, it was probably
where there was less red.
Yeah.
I think we're in way over our head at the moment. I would need to study some more economics before I could give any sort of, I guess, solid
I feel like
answer to that.
several
but-
$trillion isn't something you really come back
The trend is.
Because like we can't even imagine what $1 trillion is. That's even beyond what we can
And
imagine.
I'd like to see that compared to what other countries are at right
Yeah.
now.
Sure.
Because I know Japan holds the majority of our debt, and see who also is holding a lot of our debt to kind of see how their economy is going and whether or not.
What do you guys think about the Federal Reserve? Like, how do you think that affects our debt?
Are they the ones that set like interest rates and things like that?
And they print the money.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know much about the Federal
Yeah,
Reserve.
I don't know much either.
Other than all the Fort Knox movies and stuff like that, there's not much
Right.
things that I know about that.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys very much for answering.
You're welcome.
Y'all have a super day.
You too.
We just want to know your impression of this chart. What do you think about it?
Wow. Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts.
It's pretty scary. Well, we're at 2015. We're at 18.7,
Yeah.
and then these are kind of the future.
Like estimates.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean it's like unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very like fast.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, in the last 15 years?
The last 15 years, we went from 5 to 18.7 in 15 years. Do you think that this is like a threat to our security where we are right now?
I don't think I know very much about national debt or security to feel very like authorized. Yeah, it's a very like authorized to answer that, but like sure.
Sure, gotcha. Several people have just said they don't know much about it. There have been a few people who said that they think the Federal Reserve should be audited. They contribute the massive increase to spending that could probably be cut in a few areas. There have been a few responses where people said that it was, I guess, seemingly justified for what we spend on. Hey guys.
Hi, how are you doing?
Would you guys like to answer some questions about this chart? It'll only take a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So this is a chart of our national debt. We're just asking people's kind of opinion on it. We're at 18.7, excuse me, in 2015. We just want to know your thoughts on the chart.
It's just gonna keep going higher.
Right. This is we got the future for a couple of years.
We're ever gonna get out of debt.
Right. Right.
I thought I'd like to live in 1950.
Right. Me too. Me too. What do you guys think it'll take for people to get, angry about how much debt we have?
What concerns me, we're not there already. Are we ever going to get there?
Right. Right, for sure.
What else does it need to be than what it is now?
Right. Right. Do you guys think it's like a threat to our security to have this much debt?
Can be.
Yeah, because it takes away from the military and other places where we put our resources.
Right. Right. Because we have to pay interest.
It's not gonna go away.
Right. And we borrow $1 million a minute.
And how much of that money is
A
going
minute.
towards people that are threatening us?
Yep.
Right.
All the,
Yeah, it's scary.
supporting all the people. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We're just trying to get people's impression. We're at 18.7 trillion today. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think we should do about it?
I think there's a point where it becomes unsustainable.
Right.
And I think just like the amount of debt isn't necessarily a problem so much as the sustainability of carrying that debt and making sure that it's not increasing at too high a rate.
Right.
Is more concerning than just like how much they're.
The actual amount.
Yeah.
What do you think contributes the most to our national debt? What would you say would be number one?
I know that the ongoing expenditures Medicare is a big part of the budget, and that's something that's really hard to cut funding to.
Right.
So I understand how it can be difficult to curb the national debt.
Right. Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. Do you think this affects you personally in any way?
The United States is in debt?
Right.
Well, I think it just means you're indebted to other people forever, and you're forever owned by someone else.
Right.
So if anything happened, they'd have China has it over our heads.
Right.
So yeah.
Because if the United States were a person, they'd be in jail, right?
Yeah.
We'd be big time in jail.
I don't know. I mean, I actually just try to know what's going on in the world, so that's all.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about this chart?
For one, the national debt, I think it's crazy that there's that much debt that we're in, because every American has so much debt of student loans and housing and all of that stuff, that we're in debt to other countries, giving them money when we're in need of it too. I think it's wonderful that we're helping other countries benefit, especially since the United States is more of we're not like a seventh world country,
right.
we're not struggling
right
at the most, but for one, the only thing that really bothers me the most is that when senators and congressmen get elected, they still get that pay for the rest of their lives, and the president gets to pay for the rest of their lives.
That's right.
That's what upsets me the most. I think that it's ridiculous that they work for 4 years and they get that money forever.
Oh, that's true. And so their performance doesn't really matter, as far as...
And then people get elected not knowing really what they're getting elected for, and people don't understand what they really stand for, and they still do what they want.
Right.
And the benefits of them.
How do you think the debt affects you personally, if at all?
Well, I mean, with Social Security and stuff, I don't know if that's going to be able to have when I retire, if I'm going to be able to use that. I know that it's dwindling and that starting to use it for other things besides Social Security and invest in other programs and stuff that really, I'm not agreeing to pay for it, but I have to pay for it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We're at $18.7 trillion in debt right now. What do you guys think? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's all predicated on its relationship to the GNP.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure that chart doesn't give me enough information to make an educated comment about it.
Do you think the debt affects you personally?
The debt affects me personally?
If the national debt affects you personally?
Well, I don't think that the national debt would affect me in a modicum way.
Mm-hmm.
Over the long run, probably. And the problem is that the corporations are fueling that debt, and the debt is on the back of the middle class, and so the debt actually affects the middle class as a whole a lot more than it does just an individual.
So we're just asking kind of people's impression on the debt chart. We're at $18.7 trillion today. Just want to know kind of general thoughts on that.
Well, it's a shame, and I think we should be spending a lot less on military spending.
Right, certainly. How do you think the national debt affects you personally in any way?
I think that it will eventually, in a way that I don't fully understand, but it's not something that I think about regularly, really.
We're at $18.7 trillion today. Just your thoughts on it, what you think we should do about it.
Wait, am I live?
We are rolling, yeah.
Well, first of all, it's a percentage of GDP, so it's a little bit part of. I mean, it's obviously an issue and it needs to be addressed, but it's also a little bit misleading. If you do the same chart and do a percentage of GDP, it's going to look a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
So flip that over and show me the percentage of GDP. That'd be very interesting.
Right.
It wouldn't look like that.
I mean, what do you think about the debt like that's risen in the last, I guess, 15 years? Consider, I think it's almost risen 13 trillion, which is a short time span considering the history of our country. Or the Federal Reserve, or any thoughts about, do you think it devalues our money or causes price inflation?
Again, I mean, literally, I can't even speak that well to it, having seen that percentage of GDP, because again, what's the GDP done in the last 13 years? Does that make sense?
Right. Well, I mean, what would you say that has done in the last 13 years?
I don't know. It's obviously up. You know what I mean? It's just, so I can't comment as much as I would. I don't want to share the facts. But yeah, it's challenging. I mean, you obviously get more and more people, like people across the street from where we're staying that are homeless and need help. And I mean, that costs money. It costs the government money.
Right.
Health insurance is a serious issue.
Right.
So.
I mean, do you think, what do you think causes prices to be, getting so expensive with things like inflation and prices? I mean, as far as homes and food and resources, do you think that's just a natural condition?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's tough. It's back and forth. Like, overall, inflation is kind of level, but there's certain areas. Food, is obviously much higher right now than the normal 3%. But overall, inflation is low right now. It's not like the 80s when it was 12, 13%. So I think we're being called.
Thank you very much. We have been here since about the brunch hour, since about 11. We're just trying to gauge people's kind of impression of the debt and whether they think it affects them, whether they think it's a problem at all, whether it matters whether we have debt, and what they think contributes to the debt if there's one specific issue. And some people have said the war, some people have said, entitlement programs. So it's been interesting to see people's perspectives and kind of see what they know about it.